upset at me because this is the 5th time I've tried to do this and she needs to stay quiet. I'm sorry, Jess.
It's okay.
Alright, today I'm going to talk to you about developing plans and explaining ideas. This is the 2nd standard that we're talking about this semester in art. The first one was craftsmanship. You guys need to paste the rubric that I gave you in class under the title of this unit. If you don't have it because you misplaced it, weren't there, forgot it, lost it, accidentally set it on fire, I have everything written down for you so you can copy it. You're going to need that for tomorrow. Okay? Our standard is, I can develop criteria to guide the making of a work of art or design. If that doesn't mean a whole lot to you right now, don't worry. I've rewritten it in the rubric levels, and I'm also going to talk to you a little bit about it next. So we will get back to our rubric. For this section of the video, you need to tell me why people create art and the 4 things to remember when you are creating art for this reason. Okay? People create art because they want to communicate ideas, feelings, and emotions with other people. They want to be understood at a level that is deeper than what words can get to. Sometimes we have an idea or a feeling that's really complicated, and in order to talk about it or explain it, it would take us hours. Maybe it would take us deep conversations, or maybe we just don't have the words that hit the nail on the head or really explain what we're feeling. On the other hand, sometimes we have emotions or feelings that are so simple and basic that words become too complicated. And when we want somebody to understand the way we're feeling, we need to make them feel it with their hearts instead of understanding it with their brains. So, when we are creating art, the other really cool thing about creating art to communicate is it doesn't matter what language another person speaks. If you did a good job, they'll be able to read it and understand exactly what you're feeling or have a lot of fun with the idea that you're communicating with them. It brings us closer together as people. Right. So remember, we are communicating ideas and feelings with images, not words. This is an art class, not English. We can talk about your favorite lyrics and then express them in pictures if you would like, but we are not going to write them. 2, a lot of times we have to think about what we want to communicate and how to show it. This is normal, we do it all the time. Right? Sometimes we feel something and we have to sit there and think about what that feeling's called and why we're having it in order to talk about it. It's the same with art. 3, sometimes we are misunderstood. This is also normal when you're speaking. Maybe you have a simple question for somebody and you ask it, but it came off mean or rude or like you were accusing them of something. And if you didn't mean it like that, it's probably because you didn't choose the right words. It's the same with art. 4, it is our responsibility to communicate in a way that other people can understand. This is also the same for words and feelings. If we're not being understood, what we have control over is the way we express it. We can't control how other people understand it. This takes reflection, and we will talk about that later. Let's add a quick 5 because I did something weird. Planning our work and having conversations with fellow artists can help us learn how to communicate in a way that other people can understand. So one of the cool things about art class is how we get to have really organic, fluid conversations about our ideas. Okay? Okay? Now, you guys are going to be creating a frequent flyer tool checkout card. It's going to look something like this size and shape, okay? And you're going to use it to check your tools out for every unit this entire year. Jeremy's going to come in, so he might be interrupted. The idea that you guys are going to communicate on this card is who you are, something you want to be, something you enjoy doing over the weekend, something that just makes you really happy. You guys, in order to do this, so we can understand it better, you need a little bit of vocabulary. I've got 3 vocabulary words. The first one is symbol. A symbol is a mark or a character that is used to represent an object, function, or process. For example, this mark or character means you need to rest 1 beat in music. This mark or character is also a rest sign in music, but this one is longer. This is a character or a symbol that represents the sound B. This symbol represents the sound oo, o, ah, depending on the other symbols around it, which is pretty cool. The idea that the meaning of the symbol can change depending on the other symbols around it. This is a mark, and it is my signature. So what it represents is my approval or consent. Now, an icon is kind of like a symbol, but a little different. An icon is an object or an image that represents a larger meaning. For example, this is the icon I created to represent myself. It represents something more complicated than my signature. Remember, my signature is just like my permission. The icon is my personality. It gets more to who I am, and there's a lot of things I do and enjoy. Your last vocabulary word is reference image. A reference image is a picture or photograph artists use that helps them notice important details that make an object or personally obviously itself in their own art. So that kind of ties in with craftsmanship. Using a reference image is a good way to pay attention to detail. I used this picture as my reference image. That's my dog. All right. Let's go back to that rubric. Okay. So before you guys create your frequent flyer card with your icon on it, you're going to practice making icons with a group. You guys will practice by making an icon that represents one of our classroom rules, and then we will get every class to vote on which icon represents the rules the best, and then we'll have a conversation about why that one was chosen in regards to both clearly communicating an idea and craftsmanship. So we need to plan, because that's what this standard is about. What do I want to say, and how am I going to say it? Number 1, I can create artwork. This would be an example of level 1 plans. I can obviously create something. I made lines on a paper. I'm sure I can come up with an argument about why it's art, right? But these aren't real plans. It's a list and my name. 2, I can demonstrate a skill and my ideas reflect that skill. This would be a 2. I can see that I can make plans. That's my skill. And those are my plans. If you want a 3, you need to develop plans and also explain how those plans relate to the meaning of your idea in the work. So for a level 3, I would have to say this is the plan for my icon, and it relates to who I am because it's made out of the things that I like. And I like my dog and trees. If you want a 4, you need to explain why your visual plans support the meaning or ideas in your artwork. So for a 4, I would take this same plan and I would say, these plans represent who I am because my dog is pictured in here, and he is one of the most important people in my life. Yes, he's a person. And we go on a lot of adventures. So I chose a reference image where he was bouncing through water because it represented like hiking or running through the woods, which is something that we love to do together. I also have a tree here, and I used a reference image for this so I knew exactly how the needles and branches bundled up on the ponderosa pine. And it also represents that I live in Flagstaff. I love Flagstaff, and it's also related just to the smell of the pine trees. Right now they smell like vanilla and maple, and it's wonderful. Okay? In the background, I'm going to make it black, and then I'm going to put some stars back there. That's also going to represent Flagstaff because we are a dark sky city, and the stars are something that's very close to my heart. One of my favorite things to do is sleep outside under the stars and wake up in the middle of the night when it's totally black and stare at the Milky Way and then cry a little. It's fantastic. Okay, so that's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Do you see how I told you how this related to me in a level 3, and then in a level 4 I told you specifically why these things and maybe these poses. I went into a lot of detail. All right, if you have any questions, jot them down right after your things to remember, and we'll talk about them during the announcement period of art class. I will see you very soon. Enjoy the rest of your night.